Hello everyone, welcome to the video, and today we're going to be going over a full Mirage guide as well as some tips and tricks. So this is going to help you play Mirage if you're a beginner or new to the legend, and as well as it's going to help you out a lot if you already play Mirage and you're just looking for a little bit of extra tips. So this guide will help all the way from basic to advanced players, so just stick around. I will be going from basic tips to advanced later on in the video. But before we get into the video, I do want to say that about 95% of you guys are not subbed. That's a crazy number. All the support I've been getting recently on my channel is really crazy, and I appreciate everyone for it. I'm just asking that you guys drop a sub because I post content like this daily, and it will definitely help you out, and it will help me out a ton. So let's get right into the video. First up with Mirage, we have to talk about his kit. And his passive is Encore, where when he goes down, he becomes invisible and sends out a decoy. And then his tactical is obviously the decoy that he sends out, and then his ultimate is called Vanishing Act, where he turns completely invisible for a short period of time, and a couple decoys pop out of him. So we're gonna go left to right, so we're gonna be talking about his passive real quick. It's pretty self-explanatory. There's really not a whole lot that goes into his passive. Because like I said, it's just, it revolves around you actually being dead, so, it doesn't really do anything for you. But I will say the one tip I can give is try to move a little bit unpredictably and try to get behind cover. And what I mean by this is, while you're invisible, if you go down, say you go down like here, try to crawl over to here and behind a little ledge, before you turn on invisible, because it might give the person who's looking for you a little bit of a harder time, and it might give you a couple more seconds. Like I said, that's pretty specific, and it's really not a great tip. It's not going to help you out a ton, but it can help you out if you're not already doing it. Don't just give up, because you might actually save your own life by moving in a secluded area. A lot of people lose Mirages when they go invisible. It can be a little bit difficult, especially in mid-fight. And if you have a gold knockdown, you can easily get away and self-res with Mirage. So I'd say as soon as you go down, start moving, because your invisibility timer is going to be up soon, so you just want to capitalize on that while you can. So next up, we have the decoy. The decoy is something that not a lot of people fall for a ton of times, if you're not using it right. So people constantly say, the decoy isn't good, no one falls for it. But that's not even true. So I'm going to go over a couple ways that the decoy should be used. So if I'm just running through the map, trying to rotate or trying to do whatever, just trying to run to get to the next squad, if I'm going for kills or get to my next positioning, I'll just send out decoys and run next to them. And basically what this does is, though it might not seem like a crazy thing, but if you're just running in a straight line and a decoy is running in a straight line right next to you, there's like a 50-50 shot that the enemy actually shoots your decoy instead of you, because there's really no way of telling if you are not sliding or anything, and if you're just running, they might actually fall for it. So that's one good tip. And another good tip for using the decoy is looting. So say you're in a hot area and you're trying to loot a box. Say there's boxes here, there's a box there, there's a box there. That med kit and the backpack are boxes. What I'm going to do is I'm going to send the decoy at this box while I'm looting this box. And basically what that can do is also cause confusion, and it just gives you a 50% chance of not being shot if someone were to start aiming. And that has actually helped me out a lot in the past, where I've sent a decoy at a box and someone has actually ended up shooting it, and then that way you actually know where the third party is going to be coming from, as well as you saved yourself from taking a ton of damage potentially. So the next tip I have for the decoy is, and this one's very situational, and it's a little bit crafty. You're really gonna have to be good at bamboozling here if you want to actually do this, but it is the fake decoy. So basically what I mean by this is you send the decoy at your feet and then you run out, or you just act like a decoy. And you can even do it like behind cover like this, and you just run out and pretend like you're a decoy, because a lot of times they won't even bother shooting at you. It's very high risk, high reward. But if it does work out, you can end up getting like a whole entire team wipe, because you'll run right behind them. They won't even think of it. But if they shoot you, you're pretty much done. Some people don't fall for it as easily, but it can be pretty fun to use. I've seen it actually used successfully before. I've even used it myself successfully before, and it really is a ton of fun to use it that way. Really get your adrenaline pumping when a whole team's aiming at you, but you don't know if they're going to shoot or not. So that's a fun way of using it. It's not super effective, but if you're looking for a little funny little play, you can try it out. It might work. All you got to do is just basically, like I said, pretend like you're a decoy, or even put one down and run forward. But if he gets shot, they're going to immediately know. So it's better to just run in a straight line and act like you're a decoy. So the next way of using the decoy, and this is the best way of using it in terms of actual fighting, and this is using it behind cover. And so what I mean by this is if you utilize cover very well with Mirage, you can end up getting a really, really good play with a decoy. Okay, so this is basically the rock technique. This is very, very primarily used in fights. You can use it very easily with when you're using cover in a fight. Basically, if there's someone on the other side of this, you can easily send the decoy that way and then go around this side, and then they'll shoot the decoy on that side. You have to wait for the decoy to arrive first on that side. So they'll shoot the decoy, and while they're going to be looking at the decoy, they're going to be looking this way, and you will be directly behind them, with a nice little peacekeeper or R9. So this works very, very effectively, especially in combat. People always tend to get a little bit thrown off by it, since it can be a little bit hard to actually, be able to tell that it is a decoy, because you're not always going to know you're fighting a Mirage, or he's going to do this technique. This works really, really a lot of the time. It's very, very effective, and it works a lot with any type of cover. Any type of cover, if you're behind a rock and there's a guy on the other side of the rock, just send the decoy over there, and you'll be able to get first shot 90% of the time easily. It also works well in buildings. You could send it through a doorway, and it's a really good method. So another way of using Mirage, and this is more of like the scouting side, you can use Mirage just to feel out where the actual enemies are. And what I mean by this is, like, say we're on high ground, we're holding it, just send decoys off of the high ground and just send them running, because that way if you get shot at, you're going to know if there's anyone in the area. And this is just basically the rule of thumb for Mirage, because the decoy is on a very, very quick cooldown. So you really should just be sending out decoys like crazy, just launching them everywhere, because they can be very, very effective in drawing fire towards them, as well as confusing the enemy and giving away the enemy's location. So you could actually potentially really, really give yourself an advantage against a potential ambush or third party. So next we're going to get into the ult. Now if I forgot anything, just comment below. I always tend to forget something in these videos. There's so many things to think about that I can't think of them all, and sometimes I just end up forgetting. So I apologize if I forgot something about the decoy. Just comment below, let me know. So next we're going to talk about the ultimate, and the ultimate is my favorite part of Mirage. I'm going to put a clip at the end of me actually using the ultimate aggressively, but there's basically three ways of using the ultimate. There's the defensive way, there's the offensive way, and then there is the the bamboozle way. And we're going to talk about the defensive way first. This is basically using it as an escape. You basically just hit the ultimate, and then I always like to turn in a completely different direction. I'll act like I'm running straight, and then once I know I'm fully invisible, I just turn completely. Because they're going to be looking in the direction that you were already running in. Most players will not do this. I've come across countless Mirages that I've been able to just literally destroy because they just run in a straight line after they ult. And not to mention, they'll be doing things like running in water or something, and they're kicking up water everywhere, and I know exactly where they are. So that's another little bonus tip. Don't run in water if you're ulting as a Mirage. People are going to literally see your footsteps, and you're going to get lasered immediately. So avoid ulting in water if you can, or anywhere where you're going to be kicking up any sort of dust or anything, because they will be able to see your footprints, and they will be able to find you and track you down. You also make a whole bunch of noise, so it can be a little bit difficult to actually, get this off successfully and get away and live. So that's why I think that the best way of using it as an escape is to hit it and then immediately turn in another direction. You know, like I've hit the thing before and then turned around completely, and then just ran right by them. That can be a little bit dangerous because their aim assist can toggle onto you, so you just want to be careful with it. I'd say that probably the best method of actually, you know, changing directions would just be pulling a left or right. You know, just taking off in one direction. I wouldn't go straight, and turning around towards them can be a little bit risky because, like I said, aim assist will literally drag them right onto you. At least if you're on PS4, that will work very well if you're on PC, but basically rule of thumb, you know, and then you're gone. You just want to make sure that you're completely invisible before you change directions, because if you're not, they're going to see you change directions, and then they're going to know, and it's going to be very predictable. They're going to know which way you're going, so you just want to be careful with that. So the next use of Mirage's ultimate is the offensive way, and there's basically two types of offensive ways, and the one that I am going to be showing in a clip, I kind of bamboozled them. I made them seem like I was using it as a getaway, and then instead used it as a flanking method. And this is a very, very effective way because it really makes them think that you're trying to run away, whereas realistically, you know, you're actually just trying to get a bit better position. So basically in the video, I went up a zip line. We'll simulate it right here, okay? I went up a zip line like this, and as I got to the top, there was a whole team, and basically, you know, I jumped off, and I saw them, you know, they were like here or whatever, and I pretended like, oh shit, like, oh no, I gotta get out of here, you know, and it made it seem like I jumped off. In all reality, I just went behind them, and I ended up just literally wiping the whole squad in like 5 seconds. I absolutely demolished the team because they thought I jumped off because I was scared and I wasn't expecting them to all be there. I kind of played it off like I was an idiot, and then ended up just standing right behind them and made them look stupid. So that's one way of using it, and that's probably the more situational method of the two in terms of using it aggressively. You basically use it right in front of their eyes and make it seem like you're just trying to get away from them. You know, you make it seem like you're genuinely scared of them, and then that way, you know, they won't exactly pursue you, or if they do try to pursue you, you'll be changing directions and going behind them. So the next one is, and this is probably the more effective one and the one you're going to be using more often. Like I said, this one's less situational and you can use it pretty much every time. So say that's the enemy, you know, and we're pulling up on them from over here. So that's the enemy. You basically want to use it out of sight, but close enough so that you can get to them and get behind them while you're actually invisible. So this is an example of using it wrong. That's the enemy. I'm not going to use it and then run directly at them because they're going to be expecting me. They're going to know, they're going to be looking for me. So instead, you know, you want to create a little bit of confusion, and you want to use it before they even get the chance to see that there's even a Mirage on the team. You want to really come up with the element of surprise 90% of the time with Mirage. That's the way he's going to be most effective. So basically, instead of using it in front of them, you want to kind of, you know, go an alternative route, maybe hit it here, and then get behind them, and boom, you know. So that's definitely the more effective way of using it. You'll be able to get a lot more flanks that way, a lot more knocks, and a lot more surprised players, because they will definitely not be expecting a Mirage to be behind them, since they probably will not even know your team even had a Mirage, since they never saw you in the first place. So that's the best way of using his ult aggressively, and I promise you, if you use it this way, it's almost a guaranteed knock, because you're going to get behind them, and at this point your team's going to be pushing in, so they're going to be shooting at them, they're going to be kind of standing still a little bit, and you're going to be directly behind them, and they will have no clue. So you're going to be able to hit them for a lot, and it can be very, very effective. So I think that's pretty much it for Mirage and all of his tips and tricks. If I forgot anything, like I said, comment below. I always tend to forget at least one thing. It's hard to tell you everything since there's just so many things, but I think I generally covered most of what you should be doing with Mirage and how you should be using him. So thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time.